So I've been studying French for a little while now. One thing that I find quite difficult as as a native English speaker is the pronunciation of French words. And I'm not even talking about being native or having a good having good pronunciation. I'm even talking about making myself understood so that an average French person can understand what I'm trying to say. And it did make me wonder, is it actually more difficult for English people to pick up the French dialect to make themselves understood than it is for a French person to make themselves understood when speaking English? And so I decided to make a little experiment, and this experiment is by no means completely flawless. I'll explain certain issues that may occur whilst I'm doing it, but I'm going to use Google Translate to get the French robot to speak English, and then vice versa, and see if I can understand it. And my French isn't good enough to make a judgment on whether or not a French person could understand the English robot, but hopefully people will comment on it. Anyway, let's go for it. I'm using Zoom to record this. So what I can do is share the screen and share the sound so you can hear what's going on. So hopefully you're seeing this. If not, I'm going to have to record it again. And this isn't the first time I've recorded it. So I'm looking at a web page, Google Translate. Shall we start with French? Yeah, let's start with French. So find a news article. Okay. Now, this has got numbers in it, 28, so it'll probably translate that into French. This would be interesting if it doesn't translate it into French, because that would mean it knows it's English. Google probably does know this is English, and this is one issue we might run into because Google's quite clever. The bot might know it's reading English and not read it in French. But let's see what it says. I've not tried it with this text. So this is how it sounds in English.
Scott Mills and Chris Stark have completed the LOL-a-thon challenge, staying on air and providing non-stop laughs for an incredible 28 hours.
That's quite good. It put LOL-a-thon. That's probably how it should be pronounced. It's not a real word. So when the French translates that, I'm going to ignore that. And I'm going to probably ignore 28, which is 28, but let's see what it does.
Scott Mills and Chris Stark have completed the LOL-a-thon challenge, staying on air and providing non-stop laugh for an incredible 28 hours.
Okay, so it didn't translate that. So it probably thought it was speaking in French. And if I was completely honest, I would say that's completely understandable. It sounds like a French person, although I know it's not a person, it's a bot. I could recognize it's a bot, but it sounded like a French person speaking in English. And for me, it was completely comprehensible. I'll play it again. It will play it a little bit more slowly this time because usually it does anyway.
Scott Mills and Chris Stark have completed the LOL-a-thon challenge, staying on air and providing non-stop laugh for an incredible 28 hours.
Okay. So for me, that was pretty understandable. Let's try something else. Let's use this text. I'm actually not even properly read the text. even whilst copying it. So this is how it sounds in English.
To help you help the planet, we've got some tips from environmental scientist Dr. Tara Shine, author of the book How to Save Your Planet One Object at a Time.
And this is the same text being read by the French robot.
To help you help the planet, we've got some tips from environmental scientist Dr. Tara Shine, author of the book How to Save Your Planet One Object at a Time.
I would say that was completely comprehensible. I would understand that. I would think it's a French person speaking English. Okay. But as I say, it may be aware that the text is English and it may be programmed to make adjustments. I don't know. Okay, let's flip it on its head, which means I'm going to have to find some French. Let's go to, okay. Just trying to find a nice juicy bit of text. Maybe the headline, that'll do to begin with. This has also got a number in it. Do that again. So ignore the numbers, but let's see how, this is how it sounds in French.
César 2021, un prix d'honneur et une standing ovation pour la troupe du Splendide.
Okay, this is the English bot speaking French.
César 2021, un prix d'honneur et une standing ovation pour la troupe du Splendide.
Okay, I'll play it again in English with the English reader.
César 2021, un prix d'honneur et une standing ovation pour la troupe du Splendide.
Right, so ignore all the numbers, but I would say that didn't sound too bad. As an English person, I could probably just about understand that. But it might be completely different for the French person. I don't know. Let's find some more text. Okay, let's copy that. There's a little bit more text.
Corinne Massiero s'est écriée. Je voulais la robe couleur de soleil de Catherine Deneuve. On m'a dit que c'était trop cher, pas assez essentiel.
Okay, so that was the French reading the French. Yeah, and I could pretty much understand that. Let's listen to the English reading the French.
Corinne Massiero s'est écriée. Je voulais la robe couleur de soleil de Catherine Deneuve. On m'a dit que c'était trop cher, pas assez essentiel.
That definitely sounds like how we used to speak French at school. English people speaking French. Now, I'll play it again. Would a French person be able to understand this? It actually didn't sound too bad to me, but I'm not French, so let's listen to it again.
Corinne Massiero s'est écriée. Je voulais la robe couleur de soleil de Catherine Deneuve. On m'a dit que c'était trop cher, pas assez essentiel.
Certain things are quite different. Now, I suppose the important question is, how important are those differences? Let's listen to it again in the French with the French reader.
Corinne Massiero s'est écriée. Je voulais la robe couleur de soleil de Catherine Deneuve. On m'a dit que c'était trop cher, pas assez essentiel.
Right. Maybe let's do the last one. Let's use that text. Right, this is the French reader.
Jean-Pierre Bacry a eu droit à un César d'honneur. La disparition de cet éternel bougon du cinéma français avait bouleversé le monde du 7e art mais aussi le grand public.
And this is the English bot reading the French.
Jean-Pierre Bacry a eu droit à un César d'honneur. La disparition de cet éternel bougon du cinéma français avait bouleversé le monde du 7e art mais aussi le grand public.
One problem we've got is, well, French conquered England 1,000 years ago, and there's a lot of English words that are in French. Vice versa, sorry, there's a lot of French words that are in English, and but we pronounce them very differently. For example, la disparition.
La disparition.
Disparition. Let's see if I can get it. This is how the English would say that word.
La disparition.
La disparition, which would sound more like desperation, I would say, which means something else, but the way we pronounce T-I-O-N and S-I-O-N, words ending in that, they tend to be French words, but we pronounce them differently. So would a French person recognize the English pronunciation of that? I don't know. I don't know. So there's my little test. I've got no idea actually how easy it is for French people to understand the English person reading the French text. I don't know if Google Translate's made some adjustments. It didn't adjust the numbers, so perhaps it thought it was reading, perhaps the English bot thought it was reading English, and perhaps the French bot thought it was reading French. The French bot reading English definitely sounded like a French person, but was completely understandable. Was the real question was, is the English bot understandable to a French person? And I don't know. So yeah, if you've got any comments, it would be really, really handy.